U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security, Kirstjen Nielsen, announced she's stepping down on Sunday. In her letter of resignation, Nielsen said, "I can say with confidence our homeland is safer today than when I joined the administration. We have implemented historic efforts to defend our borders, combat illegal immigration, obstruct the inflow of drugs, and uphold our laws and values." Trump confirmed her resignation Sunday night in a tweet, saying Nielsen would be leaving her position, and announced that Kevin McAllenan, current U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner, would become acting secretary and would do a great job. Nielsen agreed to stay on as secretary until Wednesday to assist with an orderly transition. Now, joining us now to discuss are immigration attorneys Eleanor and Samman Nasseri. Thank you for joining me. Gentlemen, let's get started. Alan, let's start with sources are saying that Nielsen went into that meeting on Sunday without the intent of resigning, but has faced a lot of backlash recently from President Trump and was prepared to do so. What do you make of this?
I think it's true. I think he was very disappointed in the job that she was doing and her success rate, as was most of America and all of Congress. So something had to be done. I think when he met with her at the border on Friday, they were prepared to separate. And actually, there was a deterioration of the relationship ever since John Kelly left. So it was just a matter of time.
Well, just a matter of time. Speaking of timing, Samman, quite the timing. We've seen in recent weeks President Trump really toughening his stance on border security, and some even threatening to close parts of the border last week. But here's some of the things he said in just the last week.
And the asylum program is a scam. Some of the roughest people you've ever seen. People that look like they should be fighting for the UFC. They have to get rid of the whole asylum system because it doesn't work, but we're going in a tougher direction. We want to go in a tougher direction.
Tougher direction, but what exactly is that tougher direction? What can we expect to see the president go in now that Secretary Nielsen is no longer at the Department of Homeland Security?
Right, because something that President Trump wanted to see was to stop asylum or make it stricter to get asylum, and was holding it over her head to, hey, change the asylum laws. And she's trying to say, I can't do that unilaterally. And he didn't like those responses. He wants someone that's just going to change the laws, stop asylum the way he wants it, and if there's a lawsuit afterwards, then so be it.
Well, and how easily do you see this happening? Could the next person coming in, do you see them doing exactly what Mr. Trump wants?
No, I don't think it's possible to necessarily block asylum like that, block the refugee process like that. I mean, there's so many more departments that are involved than just the Department of Homeland Security. He's only dealing with one small department, so he's hoping that someone will give him what he wants, and he can hold that over Congress's head, saying, change the laws, or else I'm going to keep doing this.
Well, that's we'll see if the next person who's stepping in, or if the sitting person will actually do it, McAllenan. Alan, Democrats welcome Nielsen's resignation, but they seem to recognize that this is not going to change Trump's aggressive approach to this border security ever since he was campaigning, running on the wall. Congressman Benny Thompson, chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, blames Trump for the border crisis. Now, he said, quote, "Let me be clear, President Trump is to blame for making the situation at the border worse. His terrible and cruel policies have broken families apart and have caused chaos in our immigration system." Now, this is now self-evident. But with the Democrats now in control of the House, isn't there a clear way to stop Trump and fix the system by having Congress pass some sort of comprehensive immigration reform bill?
Okay, so immigration bill takes both the House and the Senate, and that's not what we have right now. For 2 years, our President Trump, had both houses, and he didn't pass one immigration bill to avoid this actual crisis that he says exists. So therefore, it is his fault. And more than that, he's exacerbated the problem by passing policies that will cut aid to the countries that need aid, as well as separating families. And consistently, what that has done is it hasn't turned people away from coming to the border. It's actually made a rush for the border, because this call for a wall and change in policy are making individuals decide that now is the time to actually come, rather than to wait it out and to see what happens. And rather than to go into these foreign areas and actually address foreign policy, you haven't seen Trump or any of Trump's cabinets beside Secretary Nielsen say that they were actually going to these countries to help figure out what the problem was, to address the issue at the core, to stop people from coming to this country. That's how we'll address that issue.
Samman, your response?
I completely agree. You've had both the House, you had the Senate, you didn't get anything done. Now you have this congressional divide, and comprehensive immigration reform is a very good blanket statement. However, it will not address all the issues because no one can agree on all the issues. No one can even agree on what all the issues are. Right now, they're saying the border crisis is the issue, but we have millions of undocumented people in the United States right now. That needs to be addressed. The backlog of 2 years in the immigration courts need to be addressed. There are so many issues that I don't think one little issue, or the asylum issue, the humanitarian crisis at the border in the United States, nothing is going to actually get Congress to pass something, because I don't think they can get the support on both sides.
Well, and that's something that Mr. Trump is still trying to say, that he's going to get this, he's going to get the wall, he's going to, threatening to close the border. Now he took a step back and said, well, we'll wait until next year, we'll give it a year, just sending all these threats. Now, Samman, there seems to be a paradox developing where President Trump is publicly backing the toughest border policies that we've seen in recent times, and yet these new caravans of migrants are continuing to set new records every month for the number of people crossing the border. I believe in February it was over 17,000 that were detained. Are Trump's public positions not actually being implemented, or are the conditions in Central America so bad that migrants are simply willing to take that risk?
It's a little bit of both. You have situations in their country that are so bad. Then you have them getting over here. You have Mexico, who's now all of a sudden they have started to toughen up their immigration laws a little bit and putting soldiers on the ground and trying to keep people from migrating north to get to here. But then you have the issue here where these people are taken into custody and then they're released and then they're out in the public. And that's another issue as well, because a lot of these people disappear. They don't show up to their court dates. They don't show up to their asylum interviews. They just get released from custody. So it's a broken policy all the way through, and the asylum process, yes, is semi-loophole to not be prosecuted for trying to enter the country illegally, but these people are being told, seek out a Border Patrol official, seek out an officer, tell them you want asylum. Don't get arrested in the desert. Say you want asylum, and that's going to be your way of getting here and possibly getting released from custody. Well, it's a very broken system.
It sure sounds like it, and I'm sure this is definitely not the end of it. We'll see what McAllenan does for the time being once Nielsen leaves. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time and input.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.